Three.
Good
What
evening,
up?
everybody. This is Toko and my partner in crime, Rubbish, and the Flippin' Demons podcast. Well, at least it was titled that way until we decided to change it back to the Untitled podcast. Episode number 4, after a very, very long 4 weeks of us not being able to provide you with quality, analytical, and committed content, we are finally back just off of the big tournament of CEO. Super Akuma traveling to Japan and making a lot of noise there, and a couple Asian tournaments happening, to which I was very, very happy to travel and also fight some known and not so known people. How are you feeling today, Rubbish? How was the wait, the pause between number 3 and number 4?
It was okay for me, I have to say. Uh, I might have said it doesn't really matter, like it doesn't really impact my life, but that seems very harsh. Um, I mean, it's fun to talk about stuff, but I do other stuff on the side, so it tends to work out, I think.
All right, sounds balanced. Well, just want to tell everyone that I do not actually have Twitch chat open right now, so if anyone ever has any questions for me, I will have to probably wait until Rubbish picks them up for me. But either way, let me just jump right into it. Last time we did this podcast, it was with Spiriax, and the date was 27th of May, a long time ago. That is basically a month ago exactly. What happened right after the podcast finished? Well, basically, I got started with my preparations for a trip to Taiwan, where Taiwan Major, Challenger level Tekken 7, Street Fighter 5, and I believe Guilty Gear event took place. Uh,
Yeah, those
Normally,
games don't matter, right? It's only Tekken. We only care about
well,
Tekken, so
not
Tekken event.
exactly. It's only Samurai Showdown. We all know that. Oh, I
It's
believe
the
it
only
wasn't
game they
Guilty.
play in the East, right?
Yeah,
Only
yeah,
Sam Show now.
yeah, exactly. Soul Calibur 5 and Dead or Alive were the games that were featured there, not Guilty Gear, I believe. Either way, normally the event that happens in Taipei every June is one that's directly relevant to Street Fighter, namely because a very, very well known celebrity in Taiwan, just in the gaming community and in general, by the nickname GamerB, has always been an extremely, extremely good Street Fighter player, and it's basically thanks to him that this event managed to grow to such an amazing scale. Unfortunately, we didn't get to talk to it when it was the relevant one, but we are finally talking about it today. Now
I
that
mean, it's not like it's been that long anyway, right? So it's like a month. So I mean,
it's actually been
not
three
even a
weeks,
month, right?
yes.
So I don't think it's too terrible. I mean, it would be nice to have covered it. Whoops, in closer to when it happened, but I think this is probably fine as well, right? So I mean, you were there, right? So you had like a first hand, had you peepers. You were on the stream actually, right?
I did commentate on the stream.
Yeah.
40 minutes to an hour. I'm not sure what was the exact time slot allotted to me, but I managed to find the VODs. They haven't been deleted just yet, so I even have proof of me, being able to commentate and repeat the same things like 5 times in a row. I did
Well, you
make
could put that shit in your reel.
exactly. I have to at this point. I did make the highlight of the day for myself by saying, hold up, dude, this isn't tag 2. Law's down back 3. Low's big low poke isn't minus 13 anymore. What are you doing? To a Geese player who tried to punish it with while standing 1 and failed miserably. Even
Got
though
him.
it's a season 2 change, it still applies. I felt like, my knowledge finally shone through.
Yeah,
Is that the
you should
correct
have.
word?
You should have. went up there and taken his place in the tournament. I mean,
Well,
you did have the knowledge, right? So
yeah, exactly. And
that's what matters.
I mean, of course it matters, but my execution is such that I would probably do down to uh QCB3 as a punish to it if I were to play Akuma, and it would probably get blocked because I buffered them properly. And it would basically be the same thing for me, except I would die in a more horrible fashion than this Geeks player did. Either way, the law player in question was none other than Double, who for whom Typing Major was the breakthrough event this year, and actually in a while, ever since the 2018 Tekken World Tour Finals. He hasn't been that dominant. Well, as you can clearly tell from my mannerisms, Double won. Another player who also visited this tournament and haven't been anywhere else since is Gen, who
Oh yeah, it
recently
was
got
against.
sponsored by Team Liquid. Who would have thought?
That was his first tournament as a sponsored player by them, right? Or am I making that up? I think that's the first time he went out
Absolutely.
under Liquid. No,
I
he got
cannot.
like fifth, right? Something like that. He made top 8.
Yes, he made top 8 winners side, correct. Interestingly enough, Kurakura also made top 8 at the Such Sec tournament, which was a surprise to almost everyone, considering literally every pool, and there were 4 of them, had at least like 8 pro players who travel everywhere. And the reason for that is obviously because Taiwan isn't that into Tekken as a whole. It's a multitude of reasons, but Taiwan is just, as far as fighting games go, Street Fighter all the way. That's why, knowing it's the Challenger event, one, and it's an event in Asia, two, all the pro players decided to come in simultaneously, but little did they know the amount of locals who would come in would not be that big, unfortunately. So, if my assumptions are correct, out of the like 36 to 40 internationally known players who travel there, well, out of the 89 players total for Tekken 7, 40 of them were internationally known, renowned players. That is why the likes of Nobi, Taisei, um, Chun Ding, I think, uh, you, no respect to you, and honestly, like two dozen other known pro players didn't get to make uh, top 8. Some even failed to make top 16. Interestingly enough. Well, not gonna dwell on that tournament for too long. Just I took 17th place, which sounds pretty terrible out of 87 players, but I lost to Nobi and John Ding, beating 2 sponsored players, one from Taiwan of all places. He is a known streamer apparently, and one from the Philippines.
Did you play only Akuma, or did you play Fang as well?
Uh, no, I played Fang my last 2 matches versus John Ding, winning one and losing one. Um, John Ding managed to beat my Lucky Chloe's. No. John Ding's Lucky Chloe managed to beat my Akuma in a crushing way after me having taken 2 rounds that I decided, let me switch. I'm just more comfortable when I'm allowed to move around laterally in this matchup specifically, which worked, but the Yeti one was quite difficult.
Yeah, how do you feel about Eddie? I was gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that later, I guess, but we could do a quick pit stop, right? Uh, we're gonna talk a little bit about Super Kuma in Japan later, but one of the matches he lost, and I think the one he lost the worst, was versus Eddie. He lost like 10-3 versus Sir. And I
I
know we talked about.
unfortunately have not seen this, and since neither of us is subscribed to Kurakura, we'll have to wait for at least a month until we
Yeah,
get
I
to see
didn't
this again.
catch all of it. He played because he switched. He switched from Akuma to Armor King. pretty early on in this, or well, early. I think Sir got like 5 games or something straight, and he switched to Armor King.
No, I
Um,
understand the Armor King pick considering how good Downback 2 is as a button in this matchup as a whole for Armor King, but I do not feel like it's bad for Akuma. It's
yeah, okay,
just like
still.
in the tier list, it has to be 5-5 around that mark. Although with Fang, I am more comfortable, but only marginally for only certain reasons. Like the sidestep cartwheel and his homing move being punishable at any range with shoulder, and as for sidestep cartwheel, just mm, relative easiness of punishing it on whiff and on block compared to Akuma. That's basically the only two reasons as to why I would prefer Fang. I would probably not switch to Fang if he started with Eddie and I played him. Yeah, that's that. Those are my
Yeah,
thoughts on the matchup. Just 2 cents. And as for my Nobi match, well, we played 1-1, and then the last game went to last game last round. And when we both had 20 HP, me on Akuma, him on Feng, switching from Dragunov,
fine. Okay.
the game paused. Someone, pressed their dread PS4 button, and we had to replay the last match.
What, the entire match?
Last round. Even though, as soon as this happened, obviously both of us showed hands, showed the PS4 button of our own, um, implying that neither of us did this, which it wasn't. Nobi started asking me, what do I want? A round rerun or a match rerun? And then he said that he wants an entire match rerun, and I simply asked the TO what are the official Tekken World Tour rules on this issue, and he didn't give me a concrete reply, instead asking which one do I want. I
That's weird.
simply asked them to look it up and to find the exact answer, and apparently it's the last round that has to be
Well,
replayed,
that makes
not the
sense.
entire match.
Um,
And I
must be a bit
lost by
weird.
SS4.
Oh,
Dang,
that
this is
sucks.
4.
But I wonder how you work that out. I haven't really thought about that, but like stuff like meter can be kind of weird. Like push to talk, Toko, push to talk.
Sorry, I'm very sorry. My girlfriend actually was kind enough to record the match, and I simply ran it down to the exact mark where the final round began, and I basically used a stick of meter and then dealt like 10 damage to kill the previous round. So what I did, the the very the time we started replaying, the second to last round, I used all of my bar so that my opponent has like 15 HP available, and I killed him with a button that gives me pretty much
Oh,
this
okay.
little modicum of meter that I had the last round last time. So it was the same thing.
Yeah. I wonder how it works out in that situation though, because I feel like you could end up in a situation where I wonder what the rules say. I mean, if I were playing someone and no one was recording, what's to say that I won't like argue that I had a bar. I totally had a bar when I didn't have a bar. That's a pretty weird situation actually.
There were multiple spectators to this match after I defeated Nobi's Dragunov as Akuma. Like, multiple other spectators came in, and like two of them knew exactly what my meter was. They
Yeah.
were saying
I
like it's
mean,
empty, almost empty, but I showed the video. It was like, yes, like this.
yeah. I mean,
In
in
the
this situation,
case,
obviously. So, but I'm just like in general, I'm speculating here, right? So,
no idea. I'm not sure if it's even covered in the rules or not.
probably not. I feel like nothing about the 2D characters are really very thought out in general in Tekken. Like they're kind of like this outlier thing. So,
I'm fairly sure that some of the rule sets actually do mention uh, s- uh, the exact amount of meter on a round replay than it was last time, but it's basically assumed that the match is recorded, which it wasn't. Yeah.
yeah. Well, those are. I don't want to say like honorable losses because I mean every loss is
Oh, I feel like I
technically
could have
how
won the
like,
Nobi
but
match.
yeah,
Junding
I
match,
mean, it
not
sounds
definitely
okay,
not.
and it sounds like you had a good time as well. So I mean, that's the most important. I mean, you ended up staying quite a bit after the tournament. So was that like?
Yes,
What
that
was
was
the plan
the
going into the
stay
trip?
for my girlfriend.
Oh, okay.
Russia is allowed. Russians are allowed to visit Taiwan without a visa for the maximum amount of 14 days, or else you have to get one. And since I am planning a longer trip later into this year or earlier next year, I just figured why not go for 14 days this time around, exactly when Taipei Major happens. So I came for 2 days, 3 days actually, to Taipei to play in the tournament and do lots of sightseeing and try shitty Korean barbecue. Wasn't a good one. Taipei, not a good look. And then for the other 10 days, I went to a different city where she lives and studies. That was the plan. And from there, transitioning to a different part of our podcast, I found out that Koreans are not that good, apparently. Who would have thought? Anyway, my original plan, my original assumption was that I would be able to get a 5 bar, or at least like a 4 or 5 bar to Korea, and four bar to Japan, and possibly Taiwan would have some of their own players to offer for me to play against. This was very, very incorrect. I found myself waiting in the waiting lobby for 20 to 25 minutes, even having switched my download region and my language to Korean so that the pesky Koreans do not decline my matches immediately as they see TC, technically, oh, I'm sorry, traditional Chinese, on the bar. I had to change everything, and even still, there were great matches. The 4 bars were actually stable from Taiwan to Korea, but Koreans do not like playing on anything other than 5 bar. It is saddening and maddening. Either one. Japan was fine, but I didn't meet any good players from Japan. And Emperor Elisa was legit terrible. Emperor Elisas in Eastern Europe are better, and that is saying something. Anyway, I did find quite a good player to whom I had a 5 bar, who played Lei, and we had a set, and then he didn't come online for 3 days and didn't add me. Either way, I'll probably play him later. One of the notable matches I played was versus Ball of B. If you are an avid fan of Kazuya, or just old Korean players who have been making comeback, he is the guy. Uh, an old ass Korean who's been playing Kazuya since probably the times I haven't even been born yet. Well, I haven't even gotten to school yet. That's better. But I played him. He was from Korea. I played from Taiwan. It was a stable 4 bar. We played like 20 to 30 minutes, and I didn't like his playstyle at all. He did win. He did win the death match, yes, because I was close to
Mm,
demotion for reasons other
mm.
than that one. So basically, he won 5, I won 6, he won 5. It went like this. But his playstyle was terrible. Perhaps it was him not playing too seriously on a 4 bar. Might have been that. But I played Fang, and dude, I did stuff on block, be it safe or unsafe, and just hard ducked. And hell sweeps just choom 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 choom. They got blocked by me every time. And then I started sidewalking after my stuff. And if a three started whiffing, that's this entire play style. Bowl of B, baby. Mix ups upon mix ups.
Well, maybe
And
he knew you were like a dirty Russian, and he was just trying to style on you. You know what I mean? Maybe he had like this the Korean sixth sense, and he still won the death match. Maybe he's like laughing his ass off in Korea right now.
well, he didn't get to laugh his ass off on me. Quite the opposite, actually. I whiff punished a couple of his jabs with 4-3-4. That was pretty good. Like the opposite of your uh getting Korea established on the map. Like quite the opposite. But I did not know that Kazuya has a string that starts from a down jab and ends in an electric. Down jab electric. A down jab is inputted by bowl of B, like one time per round. That's fine, perfectly fine. Electric will come right after. Interesting. Basically, long story short, fuck that player. I didn't like him. Probably would be able to beat him even if he were to play more seriously. And if I were to play Kazuya, oh, I'm sorry, Ikuma, just yeah. Uh, right before top eight on day two, I didn't get to stay around the tournament during that time. I didn't get to play many casuals, but I did get like 7 or 8 games in versus double. So obviously, double beating my ass was the direct catalyst to him winning the entire tournament, right? That's logic. Since he did that like an hour before the game started. But yeah, the games
He
also are
sucked
recorded.
out your life force. Took
Eh,
it.
nah.
All of
Oh yeah,
it.
okay. He basically um took it for the tournament and then beep, boot it
Yeah,
back. Say
gave it
thanks.
back.
Yeah.
But he didn't give back all of it. He gave uh, an eighth of it to Bola B. And that's what powered
Oh,
the hell
that's what it
sweeps.
is. Yeah. Basically, my matches versus Double were also recorded. I loved playing him; it was very fun. And the last 2 matches, he played Jack. Also, very, very nice. I didn't know he actually played anyone other than Law at a high level. He did. That was fun. And that was my trip in a nutshell. And I didn't really have to share a lot of other Tekken related stuff from the trip, because the last 7 days I basically didn't turn my PC on, let alone get into Tekken, because it would just be me waiting for tens of minutes on end trying to find someone to only decline me next game immediately. That was my trip.
Yeah, well, sounds like you had a blast.
Well, I did have a blast, just not in a Tekken sense, although playing all these known people, both in tournament and out, was very good.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, well, the tournament sounded pretty great, but the rest maybe a little bit iffy on the Tekken side. But again, you weren't there primarily to play Tekken, right? So at least
Not
after
that
the tournament, right? So
Yeah, not the primary reason to my visit, just, an afterthought. Or not exactly an afterthought, but whatever. The tournament itself, I do have to say this. Um, I haven't been to many majors other than, the main one in Russia and also the one in Taiwan and one in another country, but whatever. Uh, Tournaments in Russia normally have lots of side booths, even if normally it's a small amount compared to other times. I mean, other events around Europe. They also have a lot of free play setups, and the commentary on site is sometimes English fed into the venue itself. This wasn't the case at all in Taipei. They had uh, Taiwanese, sorry, Chinese uh, commentary fed into the hall for the entire time, both days. The amount of practice stations for Tekken was, believe it or not, one. For the latter half of first day, uh, sliding down to as low as one again, or even zero day two. I don't know why, but yeah, they didn't quite, I guess, want Tekken to be present at the event.
that
And
sucks.
yeah, there were only like 3 booths, and there wasn't much to do there. I did get a photo with Guilty in. She was present at the tournament with, I believe, a girlfriend or perhaps a girl space friend of hers from Japan. She's been traveling to various Street Fighter events all around Asia, and she also actually did very well in Street Fighter. I'm saying this because in Street Fighter, the amount of players from overseas were also insane. It almost felt like there were more Japanese players for Street Fighter there at the tournament than Taiwanese people. Wow. Just an interesting tournament, a peculiar tournament all around.
Yeah, Capcom Cup has. I don't. What's the prize pool for this year? I mean, it tends to be bigger than Tekken, so, which I guess doesn't really say much, but
I'm not
tends
sure
to
if
be a
it's
lot
bigger
bigger
than
than Tekken.
Tekken still. even with the Astro Gaming assist.
Oh yeah, this year is different, I guess. But in general, it tends to
Yeah,
be
in
like
general, it's like
bigger,
2 or 3 times more bigger,
more big.
more
Well,
big.
we can move on from Taipei, right? There was a couple of other tournaments. We have Tiger Uppercut,
Yeah, let me just look
right?
up results for Tiger Uppercut and I'll discuss them in short, but I didn't get to watch many of the matches, unfortunately. Give me a minute.
So Tiger Uppercut. Oh well, the breakout thing from that is Arslan wins again, right? That's the thing everyone remembers. And he played
That is absolutely
almost,
awesome, and it basically cements him as a world-known player, the one
yeah,
who is relevant from Middle East. People thought one of his wins was a fluke, the one at Evo Japan, but that is definitely not the case.
yeah.
Everyone
But I
knows this.
think I feel like those first attempts in Japan really kind of. I mean, the doubt should have kind of melted away totally after that, if there was any. Though
Absolutely.
I don't think. I think still, I don't think people were expecting him to win this tournament. Just like it's very hard to expect anyone on the very top to win any one tournament. I mean, you tend to go into it thinking, well, these guys are probably gonna make top 8 or something like that. But him winning is even crazier, to be honest.
Um, I am a huge fan of Book, and I felt like Book, of all people, had a chance to beat Arslan Ash, but that didn't work at all, and I was very, very pleased with how Arslan Ash played it. Felt like Book was stunned, perhaps, even though normally when I watch Book play or when I played him myself in Asia last year, which is so impressed with the countermeasures. Oh my god, I'm sorry. I have to go back to Taipei for this one. May I? I have
Yeah,
one
sure. Go ahead.
funny
Go
thing
ahead.
to add. That's regarding countermeasures and, Asian players doing something and something else, whatever. The score is 1-1, and I did as Akuma versus Fang versus Nobi's Fang while sending two small red fireball, while staying two half circle back one. I did this once. Um, Nobi got interrupted while attempting to either hop kick, no, not hop kick, to just jab, I think. And I can hear him asking, um, what was it again? Hyakushuhado migi to hidari, and the word for, step or move. And then, like, it was either double or U from there saying, uh, migi to, migi. I think it went something like this. And this happened between rounds like 2 or 3 of the last match. So he just, and then he got advanced immediately. And I know that Migi means right, Hidari means left. But just to be sure, I asked my girlfriend who knows Japanese, and she, said it. And in the very next round, in the middle of it, me having access to meter, I, for some reason, ran up to him and did, while standing two, half circle back one without a cancel. Who would have known that Nobi fucking sidesteps right, like he was told to, and hop kicks? And I guess the moment I did it, I justified it with, let me test if he just sidesteps or sidesteps with a punish. No, he sidestepped it properly. I didn't get to develop this while sending to fireball, like orange fireball mind game, which probably would have helped me a lot. I feel like that was a bit unfortunate, just a funny, not like even coincidence, funny situation there.
Yeah, sometimes you get fucked.
No, it's just sometimes you literally hear the information pass by
Yeah.
you,
Okay.
you
Sometimes you
pick up
fuck
on it,
yourself.
you
There we
confirm
go.
it, and then, well, yeah, the information was there, everything is relevant, but what if I just do it and he doesn't reply properly after having been told what to do? perhaps he'll get fucked again. Who knows? No, that didn't happen. Just an interesting situation. Anyway, this was the reason I went on this long tirade was because I'm just normally impressed by books' countermeasures and being able to play against all kinds of playstyles, but Arslan Ash was not it. Otherwise, 6 Koreans in Tiger Uppercuts top 8. No, I'm sorry. No, it's actually 5 Koreans, then Book, Nobi, and Arslan Ash. That is Thailand,
Wasn't Shinakuma
Japan.
in top 8?
Oh, Shinikan was 9th. And
He
Arslan
got
Ash by
9?
Pakistan.
Oh,
Yes, Shinikuma and Chikorin are both 9th place Tiger Uppercut 2019.
okay.
Yeah.
Because Shinakuma was really, really close. I think he was the closest person to beat Arslan in the entire tournament, which I find interesting. Because I think Shinakuma is, like, he's a pretty good tournament player, but I don't think he's a very good Akuma player.
And he's an okay Tekken player, but he's not a high level Akuma player, which when put together doesn't actually make you a top 8 competitor. Which makes it all the more surprising that he was the closest to beat R/Slash of the
I think
entire
he can make
tournament.
top 8 perhaps. I'm not sure. I feel like I can make a statement on that, but I know that Arslan thinks Akuma is really good, and Pakistan has lots of Akuma players who are really good, and most of them have really, really good Akuma knowledge, especially execution and combo wise and punish wise. But so that match really, I don't understand that. Maybe one of the reasons Arslan really thinks Akuma is super strong is because he sucks at the matchup. I don't know. Could be that.
It does seem that way. Even even if you take his characters into the mix, it actually makes it all the more interesting that he loses to Akuma sometimes, considering Kazumi is just such a good character to float Akuma out of the air, and as soon as you turn off his air and allow yourself to backdash comfortably and ignore down threes when you can, basically making your backdash work as your low block. However stupid would that not sound? I still
But he
feel like
doesn't play Kazumi. He doesn't play Kazumi versus Akuma. He plays
that's
Geese.
the issue. I feel like he should, and I'm not sure if Geese is a better pick.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that, especially since Arslan, like, he doesn't really use downward 1-2 at all with Kazumi. Like, he very rarely uses that, especially as like a mix-up tool and like a disrespect tool. So, and that's like one of those major pitfalls when you play Kazumi, is that you try to bulldog Akuma too much, and then you end up in this stupid tug of war where Akuma is driving a tank and you are pulling on the rope, But if you don't do that, then, which he doesn't, I really don't understand why he doesn't play Kazumi either.
Perhaps it's his disinterest in using Kazumi's somewhat limited low attacks. They're not obviously limited, but the timing on the main ones, like down back 2 and down back 4, feels similar. So perhaps, Akuma getting the read on that timing and blocking it and punishing every single one with down 2 firebolt back 1 would probably feel uncomfortable to Arslan Ash, but I'm not sure if that is actually the main reason behind it. It's probably not.
I don't think I've seen him play that much versus Pakistani Akumas.
Yeah,
I mean, there was that one match with Awais Hani, right? That the main man went apeshit about. But other than that, not a lot of match vids from Pakistan feature Arslan, actually. In my experience, at least, from the stuff I watch. Like from the Tekken Guriamwala, or what the channel is called. Or perhaps something like that. I think it's a J before the R, though, which really fucks me over. Can you do that? Are you allowed to do that? J before R? Guriamwala? Whatever. Dude, don't quote me on that.
Gurjanwala or
It-
Gurjanwala. Wait, that's not the correct one. Either way,
It's
I'm
an
just gonna
R or a
Google
J, like
the.
whatever.
Yeah, let me see.
Big racial hours.
Well, that's not the one. That's not the city I'm looking for. Let me try again.
I could Google it, I guess, or whatever. It doesn't matter. Who cares? Whatever. We can move on. Who cares what it's called?
You
Shout
are in
outs to
fact
that channel
correct.
though. But
Sorry.
it's J
Gujran
before.
Gujranwala. Or perhaps Gujranwala. Not sure. That's the city. Oh, it's Gujranwala. Yes, that is the city that is not the capital of the country, and perhaps that might be one of the reasons as to why uh, Arslan doesn't travel there much. Because apparently, it feels like they are playing at a big arcade on PS4s with
Yeah.
recording enabled. People have been telling me that apparently Pakistan has Tekken 7 Season 2 cabs, but I am a
I don't
firm
know about
believer
that.
that doesn't make
From
sense
the stuff I've
considering
seen, they don't have that.
considering
And
even even Tekken 7 Fate Retribution didn't make it to America of all places, let alone Pakistan.
yeah, I guess that's closer to Asia if you want to do like some sort of weird.
Yeah.
But I do I have heard the fact that um that Pakistan, like they have like a ton of Tekken players, right? But they're they're like clustered, and they don't really net play that much. So it's just like these local. Well, I call them arcades, but I mean they play on console setups. But so I guess that makes sense. But I mean that channel, what's it called? The Gush Ramara
Tekken
Ramara.
Gujranwala.
Yeah. Um, they have like a ton of good players. Like those that channel uploads a lot. They upload all the time because people play so much there. They play all the time, but lots of players are super good, and like the overall match quality or player quality is very high. Um,
Absolutely.
so
From what I've been able to understand, Pakistan's networking capabilities, as you know, like as far as playing online goes, are not good. You cannot exactly play versus an Indian player as a Pakistani if you are from, the farther part of Pakistan, the westernmost part, for example. That is why basically, whenever you're playing online in Pakistan, as far as Tekken 7, you are limited to Pakistan, a tiny bit of India, if that, and that's all. And
yeah,
obviously, no matter how big the population that's playing Tekken in Pakistan is, that's still not enough. Pakistan is a big country, and the distance between cities also might be taken into consideration if the networks aren't that good in the first place. So perhaps just um, knowing that all the big dogs are playing at Gujranwala, well, I'm just gonna go there, right? And Gujranwala also has an airport, so perhaps Arslanash could swing by after
yeah, I don't know.
coming
I mean,
towards the tournament.
Arslan has said several times that I mean he gets destroyed by people where he plays, right? He doesn't think he's the best player in Pakistan.
Yeah,
Um,
he has been known to say this.
so I mean, I don't think maybe he doesn't need to travel. I mean, he's doing pretty well uh, where he's at right now. So maybe he feels like his region has the strongest player in Pakistan. But uh, I heard from an interview where he said that Tekken 7 is the most popular game in Pakistan. The number one game. That's the
Wait,
shit
is that
everyone
true?
plays.
Not even Dota
According to
or
him,
CS?
that's like, well,
Okay.
I don't know. That's what he said. Like, that's the go to game. People play Tekken, which is like super surprising. I don't know. That's dope. That's super dope. But I don't know.
It's dope, and it's also sad that we had no idea this was a thing in Tag 2 and Tekken 6. I feel like in Tag 2, people there would already be better than the entirety of Europe. if they are that good right now.
Back in the
It's
day,
unfortunate.
there used to be posters on Tekken Saibatsu from Pakistan who posted quite a lot actually about, well, not like super lots, but I know I for a fact that I've read stuff from way back, like when DR came out into early BR, about posters about the Pakistani scene a bit, though. And yeah, Bopper in chat here, Asim for sure always said Pakistan was super good, and when he showed up to UK, he mopped the floor with people,
Oh yeah,
So
that is absolutely true. And has been doing it consistently as of late too, despite
yeah,
moving to an arguably inferior region as far as players are concerned. Sorry.
yeah. But yeah, I'm hoping that the continued saga of Arslan, uh, if not opens up, for more of the Pakistani players to travel, that would be super sick. Like, but at least make them to begin with start streaming more events, if possible, more uploads, more like, I think more personal stuff could be useful as well if they're looking for sponsors and stuff like that. It's one thing to have like content aggregation where they just upload like tons and tons of matches, like Tac Tac used to do for Green Arcade.
Well, that's basically what
But
Tekken Gujranwala
yeah,
is
yeah,
doing right
yeah,
now. But
yeah. I'm
unfortunately,
saying like that's not enough, right? That's not enough to get sponsors and stuff like that. You
not
need
even close.
you need a face. You need a person, which the Arsenal thing really worked out so well for him because his story was so unlikely for the majority of people who didn't know Pakistan was a thing as a region, and like him coming out and winning, and stuff like that. So they would really have to. Yeah, their passport is shit, but that is stuff that good sponsors can actually help with, right? And if people there want to make Tekken a career, then there's always the possibility of maybe getting a work visa for somewhere else, stuff like that. So I mean, esports organizations haven't really tackled these problems like in a big way yet, but we are moving in that direction where there are like advocate groups for these issues.
I don't really have too much to add. I do know that their passports are quite terrible, and obviously there are international esports communities that are trying to push for all kinds of things that would enable people to travel more easily, like their recent successful, admittedly, attempts to add a certain assortment of video games into the Southeast Asian Olympic Games. And also, there are apparently active talks about adding, or at least attempting to run, a uh, trial run of video games at actual Olympics at some point, very, very late into our lifetime. But that's still a talk that's happening. So these would allow, arguably, for people to have less issues with traveling.
Is Pakistan not present in World Cyber Games or whatever it's called now? What's it called? That shit you went to represented Russia. What's it called? Esports.
I
That
do
thing.
not think so. No,
Because I
there wasn't
assume
just
if
a single person from Pakistan there. Or if there was, he didn't do well at all because I didn't remember. There were people from Saudi Arabia, the person who won, the Akuma player from Iran, then also people from Lebanon, then certain African countries were also present with their own Tekken players. But as far as India obviously was there with
yeah,
Tejan. I cannot remember Pakistan being
yeah.
involved.
I feel like you probably would have known, like like noticed it if there was a Pakistani player there. I feel like
I
they're so
would
good that it would have been weird to
probably
not have.
assume that at this point in time, their Pakistani player who would get to travel will probably be the Geese or the Akuma main, since at this point in time, like right before Arslan came to Evo Japan and won it, apparently Akuma and Geese were the two characters that dominated the entire scene.
Yeah,
So I would have definitely noticed.
I mean Akuma is super duper duper popular there. I mean the Tekken channel, Gujaramara or whatever. I'm just gonna keep saying it that way. I'm not sure if it's correct. I mean that channel alone has like 6 or 7 Akuma players that are like the baseline for them are that they're good and would be tournament threats. In
Oh
at
yeah,
least like in
without a
Europe and US,
doubt.
like even
And
the lowest of them in terms of rank.
setups, the ideas, the punish options, and the mix-ups of the certain two of these Akuma players are actually so good and so innovative that even our
I am right down.
forerunners, is that a word? Those
Yeah,
of
no, no,
us EUNA Akuma players who are at the forefront of the Akuma exploration actually got a chance to take some of this knowledge. It was that new, it was that interesting. The combos, the ideas, basically it developed an entirely different way, and I would just love it if more Pakistani players were um, good enough with English so that they could indulge in discussions, be it on
yeah,
Reddit
for
or
sure.
on Discord or anywhere else. This would have probably been the one of the most important points for them to start developing as an actual top tier region from now on.
Yeah, I feel like they probably have a lot to share. It would be really interesting to know more about players like Kashi. Like people go so hard on. Oh, thanks for the host, by the way, Spearx. People go really hard on Super Kuma because he plays hitbox, right? You can. Oh, he's so good. He's so much better than the other Kuma players because he gets to be consistent because of hitbox. And I think there's obviously some truth to Akuma being a bit more suited to hitbox than something like stick, though I think it's pretty like people go ham about that shit. But I would like to know what Kashi plays on. I would be fairly certain he doesn't play hitbox. I don't know. I just don't think so. And that dude is incredibly consistent. That's probably the most consistent execution wise Akuma player I've ever seen. Like straight up, he does the hardest thing every single time, and he hits it
That
95% of the time.
that is an extremely high praise, and yes. Although regarding this statement of yours that people saying that Akuma Super Akuma wins with cheatbox and all, I feel like it is still this statement is still in its wake as a half joke that's just been pushed and tossed and turned around as the hate or the love for hitbox and mixbox grows and falls within the FGC community at large. I don't feel like any of these people who are relevant in the FGC community, the Tekken community in general, I mean, in particular, actually think this without a shadow of doubt or joke or sarcasm.
I don't know. Maybe I think there's some truth to things people say, or well, that they think that way. Um, I think people hate the character still way too much. Even people that are good and like strong players and perpetuate this stuff. Maybe they do it as a joke, but at some point the joke becomes everyone starts thinking the joke is real. So like that's like when Nobi played Super Kuma now in Japan. And Nobi's a funny guy, right? So after he won the set, he like put the camera on me, and then he pointed at Tekken. He went, this is Tekken, this is Tekken. No, read this out, Tekken, Tekken. And that's obviously very lighthearted, right? I don't think Nobi actually gives a shit who Super Kuma plays. He was obviously having a good time. But a bunch of idiots in the chat, a bunch of morons in the chat are gonna go, oh, Nobi's just dunking on this fucking 2D playing idiot. And you can say whatever, morons will be morons, but at some point, I think it's good to just like go, well, no, it doesn't matter. Like, it's cool that people come and compete because that's obviously the core message of the Kuro Kuro events. That's just my 2 cents. I don't know. I feel like people could just not do it, you know?
This funny thing that Nobi did was quite a funny thing. Forgive my lack of vocabulary for that one, but that was impressive. I did not expect him to do something like that, especially after doing such an outrageous, outlandish, and dare I say, non-Tekken thing as what was it again?
Did backswing
Opponent's
blow, right?
DF1. He blocks it. Backswing blow. How could you, the pillar of the Tekken Japanese community, the one who won Tekken World Tour and Evo 2016, right? Or 15. Either way, he won Evo at some point. How could you, after winning in such a dirty and undeserved way, just turn around and point at Tekken? Not even 7, but Tekken. Such unsportsmanlike conduct, Nobi.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, doing a Dragunov doing a fucking backswing blow after blocking a down forward one, that's the most Tekken shit I've ever seen. That's like Tekken, like, oh, someone asked me what's Tekken. Oh, it's fucking Dragunov doing a stupid ass bullshit backswing blow after blocking my down forward one, and then he gets the wall and he gets a rage drive and he stomps me and I die. And then they laugh. That's like, oh, that's Tekken. That's Tekken, right? What?
Oh, okay. Now I get it. So, see, the joke's on me here. Or perhaps on you. Actually, the joke's on you, Rubbish. Clearly, Nobi wasn't critical of opponent's choice of character and the amount of planes he plays at, be it 2 dimensions or 3 dimensions. Clearly, he was celebrating the feeling and the culture of Tekken by winning via a backswing blow.
Yeah, you're
Perhaps
probably
you
right.
gotta take that into consideration. Interestingly enough, making a huge hook to the first quarter of our podcast, Tiger Uppercut did not see Nobi venturing anywhere higher than top 4, perhaps because none of the players in top 4 mained 2D, or perhaps none of his backswing blows worked. Low High 7th, Book 7th as well. John Ding and Nobi share 5th. Frank Chul Sun 4th-3. Rock's Knee at 2nd, and Arslan Ash at 1st. That is the results. And one of the interesting points here is that Double, the person who took first, the tournament that happened literally last weekend, as far as Tiger Uppercut is concerned, only managed to get 9th here. And Liquid's own Gen Kids, the Leo Cleason mastermind, the Tekken's, what's it called again? This word in German, smart kid? Wunderkind. Tekken's own Wunderkind. Only took, sorry for that, brain fart of mine, 25th. Can you imagine that? Gen.
Yeah, sure,
legend.
I can imagine it.
How can you imagine that? I
It's
can't.
fucking a Tekken major. Like, it's like 900,000 killers. Like, getting top 8 2 times in a row, that's like super mega hard. You gotta be a fucking legend to do that shit. So,
Well, to be fair though, basically all the names, 25 through 1, I have heard of. Like Sans 1, there isn't a major happening often that allows such presence of power that literally the entire top 32, I know every single name. I have seen their games.
Yeah, Tiger Uppercut was
Yes,
stacked
Tiger
too.
Uppercut was extremely stacked.
Yeah, another interesting thing about that shit is that I don't think Arslan played Geese the entire top 8, and I think the only Geese play was Ni in the top 8.
I don't actually know about that. I
Arslan played
thought he
only
used it
Kazumi, I think.
versus his first opponent in top 8, but I cannot remember because I didn't
I think
get
he
to
was
watch
entirely
Untitled.
Kazumi, actually. I think Ni pulled out the Geese once in top 8, but he lost and then he switched.
Well, perhaps that's the actual secret to winning a major. You have a character who is good at stomping people before top 8, and then your actual main, who you do not show them any tricks. You practice only before top 8. You don't get this burnout, character burnout, perhaps, that you could get. And you also are playing a character with arguably easier execution in Kazumi, the day 2, the one that matters. Perhaps
Yeah.
that's the
I mean,
secret.
Arslan has gone on record to say that he hates Geese multiple times. So could be something like that. I'm not sure. I think he hates Akuma as well, which may be the reason he picks Geese versus Akuma, because he just wants to hate fuck Akuma
Wow.
away. I don't know. But yeah, I do find it kind of interesting. There was a ton of Geese in pools. Like, lots of Geese. I think out of like 50 matches, there was like 12 instances of Geese, or like 15, like a lot of Geese in pools.
I would love to go over character picks in this tournament and also CO. They've been quite interesting. But yes, if we were to just take a quick look and press
Press. I played 2
press
Geese players in here.
Control
Okay.
plus F to search for Geese keyword. Let me do that real quick.
Best player in all the relevant regions: Pakistan, Korea, Japan plays Geese. Yeah, sure. I guess. I think it's a bit of a stretch to say that Ni. I guess maybe now you could say Ni plays Geese, like plays Geese. But it's not like he's a Geese main. If CO hadn't happened, I think it would have been a big stretch to say that Geese was like a big part of his play. But I guess he
The amount of
played
people
Geese
who
now.
use Geese as main or as secondary during Tiger Uppercut in top 32 is 7 compared to Jin's 5, for example. An interesting one to me personally is Jack 7 with 5 as well. Normally, you only see Jack as a character do good because of certain few pro players who've been, Jack lovers since their childhood. The only toys they played with ever were robots. No dolls, no cars, only robots. And this, I guess, went with them through their puberty and into their maturity. So, Naroma Saint, Lord Bear, Artek, and Love Neat. We've heard 3 of these names, but still, quite an interesting representation. Do you feel like Jack 7 is a better or worse, yet more fledged out and a well made character overall in season 2 than compared to season 1, Rubbish? I know you are quite a player of Jack 7, perhaps not a main, but definitely top 3 character in your books.
I played maybe in total like 50 matches of Jack 7 in Tekken 7, so I used to play him a lot.
Big yikes.
But I
Terrible
think the
information.
majority of my Jack play has been versus you in one set. So, but yeah, I think he's at a pretty good place. Like I don't think Jack is like, I don't know. I could see, I can see why Jack isn't incredibly popular as a pick. Just because you kind of have to play a certain way and you can get destroyed by certain things. But I mean, I don't know. I don't think season 2 did a major thing to him one way or another. Like,
Yeah, that sounds quite nice, and I'm glad the Jack players, I guess, coming back. People have been hating Tekken 7's, season one's presence of Jack and Dragunov ever since Vanilla was around, but I feel like a bit of Jack here and there, perhaps followed by Anakin or Saint, is not a good look. I mean, sorry, not a bad look in a tournament. I'm really sorry.
I think it's interesting to see the switch around from what people enjoy. People go ape shit for Jack now, especially Saint. Um, and people go apeshit for Dragunov now again. And like, these characters play the fucking same way they did. They're like marginally worse. So, like, if you didn't like him before, why do you like him now? Just to me, it just becomes so evident that it's entirely based on seeing the same people win. And this also, I think, is pretty evident that people pick things that win. If people see that Jack and Dragunov win all the time, more people pick those characters. And obviously they were better before, so it's a bit of both. But it's like with Geese, like if really good players, I'm not saying Geese isn't a really strong character here, but even if he wasn't a really strong character, if you had like Arslan and Chikrin beating the shit out of everyone with Geese, more people would play Geese. That's just how it works. I like.
That makes sense in general, but as far as Jack 7 is concerned, I feel like those who mained him through thick and thin will stay with the character no matter what. And this is
Oh yeah,
interesting,
sure.
and this is actually kind of unique to Jack. Even if we were to look like characters like Lee or Law or Nina or Marduk even or King, these normally take a real character specialist to stick with them and not leave them behind. King was probably the only one out of the 5 or 4 character I named that actually has a similar feeling to them. But whenever I see Anakin's name, he's playing Jack, even though I personally feel like Anakin could play like 10 characters at a top 8 major level. Saint, he has quite a couple within his grasp as far as playing is concerned. Also, Jack 7, Mach. His Fang was amazing. His Eddie is great. That is magnificent from the United States. Jack 7 again. And these are the results of CEO.
But I think it's in my head. Like, I know you started playing Tekken after me, of course, but still in my head, this era
Yes, Narama, Emily.
of people playing a bunch of different characters is really new. Like, you can go back only like, I don't know, like 8 years, like early Tag 2 maybe, and Tekken 6 definitely, where people were picking one character. People play one character. I
Uh,
played this character
Sorry to
with
interrupt you, but this is what I'm saying. I'm really sorry, but I have to make this point right now. I feel like this Tekken 7 as a whole, the game, is of the era of people switching mains around and playing multiple characters in tournament. Nii was the one who basically started it in season 1, and then boom, everyone has like 3, 2, 4, in Nii's case, characters every single time they play tournament.
I
This
think Nii
is
started this thing in Tag 2. Like, at least in
I'm
Korea.
not. Oh, I didn't think of
Nii
that.
played
Perhaps
like,
late Tech 2, right?
but he played mostly the same characters, maybe in tournament overseas, but Nii played very, very many teams up to highest arcade rank in Tech
But
2.
what
Like,
about tournaments, Korean tournaments?
well, they didn't really have that many tournaments, right? They had stuff like Tekken
Oh,
Crash or
yes, that's
Strikers, was it called?
yeah,
I
that's
think
what
he
it
played
is.
different teams in that. I mean, he played Brian Deviljin in some tournaments, but then he played Double Mishima and he played Feng for a while. And then he played Steve as well. So, I mean, I think he kind of started that thing there, maybe. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that most Koreans like dick around with other characters and have been doing that forever. That's just what happens.
Absolutely, yes.
But it's kind of, I think he kind of opened the floodgate, and for better or worse, I think for a lot of people, this like era of having like, oh, I gotta have 5 characters isn't good. Like, I think it takes a player at the caliber of like Ni or Noroma that have played the characters for a long time as well to be able to switch. It's really hard. It's really, really hard.
It's hard to play catch up, especially when you are someone who only comes in to the tournament experience from Tekken 7 onwards. And when you meet someone like Naroma in tournament who plays like 3 characters, 4 characters, 5 characters better than you will ever be able to with your main, definitely kind of kicks the wind out of your sails real quick. And yes, almost every single person in CO's top 16. Wait, no, that's a lie. Like three thirds of players in top 16 have 2, sometimes 3 characters they've played throughout the tournament.
Yeah. So if we're moving on to CO, I think there's a couple of breakout things there. There's obviously Rick the Ruler and Obscure, both doing really well. Obscure obviously making top 8 winners, and
The
Rick the
only
Ruler,
one, the only person from the West to be able to do
and
so.
I think Obscure beat Rick the Ruler, but Rick the Ruler beat both Low High and Saint. So he kicked the shit out of some big names.
That is clearly the law of dominance coming in through.
He played some
Very,
Bob
very
as
impressive.
well,
Yeah, some
but
Bob
I think it
really
was
good.
mostly Law. So that was cool. But then you obviously have JDCR getting third, playing really well, basically bodying everyone up until winners finals. Or
And
was it
that
winners
was
finals?
the only match
Yeah, it
where
was winners finals,
he
I think.
used geese.
Yeah.
As far as top 8 is concerned, anyway.
Yeah, I didn't catch all of these games, but I think that might have been the only match he played Geese. He played Steve mostly the entire tournament.
True, true.
And JDCR, I think JDCR is in a kind of weird spot. I think to me, it still looks like he's really trying to work out a viable game plan for his Armor King play. Like, I get the feeling that it's still, he's still working out like how to even approach playing the character, because he does so little. It's like he's like doing this giant equation in his head, and he's trying to find one answer. It's gonna spit out one thing, but it's gonna take like, I don't know. It's gonna take like 4 majors more or something. It's kind of interesting.
Well, perhaps it does take GDCR a bit more time with these kinds of characters, but it does not feel at all like he's stagnating with the AK. Feels like he's developing things, he's trying new things, it's fluid. It actually reminds me, well, it's not a good reminder, but kind of the JDCR plus Tekken 7 Vanilla Heihachi situation. He tried to make him work to no avail for many months until he finally went away from that pick. Before they made him good again, obviously.
I don't think Heihachi was ever bad though. I think the main reason
honestly
for
think it was quite mid tier. Obviously, the worst Mishima in Vanilla.
yeah,
Well, not
sure,
that
but
bad, but it
that
wasn't
doesn't
like
really
enough.
say that much, to be honest. Like, what, mid tier? Sure, he's mid tier, but is JDCR, is Armor King better than Heihachi was in season 1?
I feel like he was because
I don't know.
just characters. No, that's not season 1. That's Vanilla.
Oh, you mean Vanilla? But JDCR didn't really play Vanilla Tekken 7. He played it for a while and then he quit. Played Tech 2.
That is true, but from those times, yes, I meant Vanilla specifically. From those times that he did play Vanilla, he tried to use Heihachi and it was quite a sad sight.
Oh yeah, Vanilla Heihachi was pretty bunk.
I
Didn't really even have like combos and shit, and like whack stuff. Back when 2 was like the only spin. back when Tugan up for 4.
Yes.
It's harsh.
Heihachi's best combo was one that does not include screw? Yes, screw. Sorry.
But yeah, JDCR he plays super super slow, like the slowest play possible. He does so little, like so little. So I think it's kind of interesting to see, and I feel like he gets in these situations so often where like he does so little that he gets out poked in the first 10 seconds of a match, and then it goes to timeout, and he just doesn't do anything because people don't whiff shit when they're at like Knee's not gonna whiff something when he has a life lead. That's just not gonna happen. Like, his offense is definitely the part I see lacking, and that might be AK. He might be like, obviously AK has stuff to open people up, but it's mostly the throws, right?
That is true. And since he actually has a legit mix-up that's unseeable in crouch dash throws, I feel like this is the thing you have to bank on as Armor King, especially considering that your wave dash also gives you access to the knee. That's a safe knockdown with shoulder guaranteed. Quite good as a mix-up, to be honest.
Yeah, it gives you launch if you're got Pakistani execution.
Ooh, that is true.
That is true. But yeah, that was kind of it. I think the Chanel versus JDCR match was definitely the hypest for me for like the entire tournament. Chanel, I think it was a 3-0, but Chanel really played some textbook Tekken in that. Some textbook Chanel, especially. Like, he mixes such crisp movement and punishes with just like a bunch of stupid shit, and it's the best. It's like the best combination ever. Like, goes from doing point blank down 3 2 times in a row, like down 3, crouch cancel down 3, into sidewalking, into perfect 2-4 punish to get the wall combo. Like, that's sick from long range, especially. Chanel is dope. Chanel is like one of my favorite players ever.
That sounds just right. Well, with Jack not being one of your favorites, I guess, now that I've found this out the hard way, what do you think about Elisa? Do you just like her as a character? But didn't you main her in season 6? Tekken 6.
Yeah, I mained her in Tekken 6 and in Tag 2. And I played Jack in both those games as well. So I mean, I liked both the characters. If I didn't play Akuma, I would play one of those for sure. I think Elisa is in a really good place. Like in BR, I really like the character, but she's kind of like Akuma in this game, in that like the character isn't well designed. Like, she has a super broken backdash and good pokes, and that's it. And like, that's really the character. So in Tag 2, they they totally nerfed the character and made her ass like garbage. Like they took her backdash from like the best to like bottom 4 or something, like garbage. But then in Ultimate, they kind of started making her more of a character that you could build on, and I think they've kind of peaked now. I don't think you could make the character any better without her becoming like super good. But I mean, she's very well rounded, and she has some quirks. Like, I think Elisa is dope in this game. I think she's really good.
To me, one of the main highlights of the tournament was Mr. Taxi. I even forgot who his opponent was that he styled on, but that was good. Shout outs to Mr. Taxi. The one true Anna player from the United States, and also Cuddlecore beating Chanel. Was that not the case? Am I looking at this wrong? Sorry. Throwing a blank here. Perhaps she just did really well versus Chanel but didn't win. I cannot remember.
I can't remember who Chanel lost. He was in losers, right? But I know I didn't catch all the Cuddlecore matches. I know she beat the shit out of Joey Fury, right? On Marduk.
Thing is, she used
with his
Ling
gunner glasses.
versus Chanel's Elisa. That was just an impressive sight. Quite nice. Yes. Oh, Sherdle was the Taxi's opponent, the other Elisa player, this time from Europe. Yeah, I'm glad to see Mr. Taxi back. Ninth place, sharing one with Jimmy Jane Tran, who's also ninth. He realized double as well as Rick the Ruler. Seventh book again. Jin only, not name. Interestingly, I feel like Book definitely has to start picking up this thing where people play multiple characters. Although, perhaps
I don't
Book is
know, like,
reliant on Harry as an option to warrant him going anywhere away from Jin. He does play
Book is
Kazuya, but
so.
it's
I think it's so evident with Book that he has like some major issue with tournament nerves still. He still drops stuff like every set, especially in top 8. And that's harsh. That's hella harsh, and you kind of need to work that out. You can't really do that. I mean, getting a launch on someone is such like that. That's like the only free thing you're gonna get in a game is the combo after launch, right?
yeah.
So giving up free stuff is not gonna work when you're trying to win versus people like Ni or Chanel or JDCR or Arslan or whatever. Insert super dope player. Like that doesn't work. If you do that, you 100% deserve to lose every single time. So that seems like a very pressing issue for Book.
I guess I didn't watch enough matches of his to see him drop this a lot. So it was Saint who eliminated Anakin 2-0 in the mirror, Emily, and Obscure sent him into losers. That is the statistics that Vent Hubs is showing.
The return of Saint on a like being sponsored and like actually like I feel like he's actually really putting his all into it again is also super dope. Saint is such a great player to watch. He creates such great moments. Like, oh, it's so good. It's so good to have Saint Bank in tournaments. Like, oh my god, missed him so much.
I was lucky enough to meet him at Taipei Major and congratulate him with his newest sponsorship. And I also unfortunately found out that all Korean prop players are short, no matter how jacked they are. Not Jending, not Saint. Just not up to par, not up to standards, not up to the Europe snuff, so to speak. Rank 2 wasn't too high either.
Yeah, I think we can skip the fighting game challenge. We're probably gonna run over on time here a bit. But
a bit too late for fighting game challenge results, especially considering neither one of us was present.
yeah, I would like to mention. I don't know if you've seen this, but there was a tournament in Brussels for an Evo, Road to Evo. If you won, you got a trip to Evo, right?
That's the one Leslie attended, correct?
Yeah, Leslie went. I think Sephi Black went. Super Kuma, Joplix. And Joplix beat the shit out of Super Kuma. Oh my god, did he beat the shit out of him? He beat the shit out of him twice. Because he met him in winners and grand finals.
Well, that is of course harsh for Super Akuma, but as far as this player matchup is concerned, I'm not surprised at all. Joplix does versus Akuma in general extremely well.
Yeah, but he beat the shit out of him the exact same way he beat the shit out of him at Headstomper. It was the same match. And it was the same match in winners, and it was a fucking rerun in grand finals. You could it's like 20 hop kicks a game.
It's, I guess, Super Akuma's inability to adjust to certain players.
Yeah, absolutely.
Adapting to his offense in a certain way and just throwing out things.
Yeah. 444 into hop kick, as Bopper says, is like it's every single time. 444 into hop kick. It's worked for months. It's fucked up. I think Super Kuma is cursed or something. He has to press down 3. when he blocks 444. And it was so funny. I was watching that because I did a match analysis for the grand final set, or maybe I did both. I can't remember. Um, and he does 444 into hop kick like 5 times, and it hits 5 times. So 5 times, this shit is hit, okay? And he does 444 backdash, and Super Kuma does a fucking down 3. If I was Jopolix, I would have shut the console off and I would have murdered Super Kuma there. I would have strangled him. I don't think that's allowed. That's fucking illegal. You can't do down 3 after you get hit by hop kick and lose the round fucking 5 times in a row.
That is terrible. That is
fucked up.
I have
It's
no
fucked
words.
up.
And this would be 100% inexcusable even if Akuma had no sidestep and no backdash, because you can literally just block, right? The most basic option of them all, or even armor. I don't know, many things to use.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, you can counter hit the hop kick.
Akuma, yes, counter hit obviously. Akuma can simply, as well as almost every other character other than Eddie, I guess, just sidestep left.
Yeah.
Sidewalk
Or if he blocks
left.
the hop kick, he kills him.
Of course, because his
Like,
execution is good.
he's
and
Akuma,
he
like,
will
he
do
kills him.
things consistently. So what's the point?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that. I guess we could segue quickly into the first attempts, because after this, he went to Japan.
Yes, this is a good segue.
Kurokuro.
Yep,
oh, good.
Kasarapazo, we are exactly arriving at this topic right now.
And the first day was a bit shaky. Or well, it wasn't really. The first match was shaky because he lost to Sir, who like.
Oh, sorry, rubbish to interrupt. Just wanted to get an approximate rundown as to which matches, versus which characters have you seen of him, or perhaps like.
I've seen. Oh, I can't remember all the names because there's a lot of Japanese players that aren't like super known name wise. I think, at least to me. But I did watch. I watched like 2 sets versus Ravens. There was this set versus this Ling player who I didn't recognize the name of. Sir, of course. Then Nobi, Furumisu.
Nobi was big. Furumisu was also
Noroma, Kagemaru. This other Akuma player. What his name was?
Tello, Rello, Nello.
Anello, something like that.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
And then there was some Kazumi players as well.
Tarei
What's his name?
Tarsei Cutter.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah,
Taris
Taris Cutter. So there. And really, I think, with the exception of Sir, who I'm not sure, maybe that dude is a super dope Eddie player. I don't really know of the guy much. Super Kuma pretty much kicked the shit out of everyone that wasn't a well-known top Japanese player.
I would say I would put it a bit differently. He did well versus everyone.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Except for certain few internationally unknown players whom he lost to or won with huge casualties, like Sir, having lost to him, and also Nello. Cutting it quite close, I believe, running it down the first 7 games or so, and then arriving at 10 finally.
But I think that set is like, I don't want to give excuses to anyone, but to me that set was like, okay, this guy did some weird shit. I got it figured out. I'm never gonna lose again versus this guy, because when he started winning, it was free.
I cannot even say if it was free when he started winning. It still felt very much like meh.
Didn't he take like 8 games in a row or something crazy like that?
There were still multiple games where his opponent got 2 rounds in. But still, you are perhaps correct. I didn't get the entire picture. Casaro Pazzo coming in hot again. Kagemaru's Jack. Never seen his Jack, and he did well versus Akuma. Versus
Yeah.
Super Akuma, literally the best one in the world.
It's 10-8, right?
Yes, or 10-7.
I think
10-8, yeah.
10-8. And he lost versus Norma also. I think not only is Jack a good pick versus Super Akuma, versus Akuma in general, like it's a hard matchup, but Jack is also very good versus how Super Akuma plays. He bases so much of his offense on jumping, and when he's cornered, he also likes to jump out and neutral jump. Both things which Jack really doesn't give a shit about in general.
That is absolutely true. Jack does very well versus any kind of jumping. But I feel like Super Akuma's ways to approach a character like Jack without jumping work nicely. He is fine with doing that. It's obviously a way bigger struggle to do this, but I think Super Akuma is not that uncomfortable with the matchup, considering the scores versus Noroma, a world-renowned Jack player.
Yeah, for sure. But I
And
think he
that's-
stepped
yeah,
up his game a
sorry.
lot between matches there because he, I think he played a lot better versus Jack strategy-wise versus Norma than versus Kagemaru. And the last Jack he played before he went to Japan was Norma in the top 8, and I think he got 6-0'd in rounds. Like it was.
Oh yeah,
100%
that
free.
was a terrible beatdown. Absolutely true. I guess he did not expect Kagemaru to ever switch to Jack because I wouldn't ever thought, like, I didn't know Kagemaru was a Jack player. Wasn't he a Brian player at some point? Like in Tag 2 or 6?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Before switching to Josie Rizal. One of the other issues Super Akuma faces when coming into international tournaments is the lack of matchup experience in certain characters that the other part of the world loves. Like Jack 7, specifically. Are there any known Jack 7 players in Europe who at least travel to tournaments? I cannot think.
Gunny, I guess.
God, yes. Goonie is like literally the only example I can think of. That's a perfect example, actually, honestly, considering he also is from France, right?
Yes.
But that is not enough practice. I feel like you have to take a look at a bigger, wider range of Jacks to be able to have a better read on the character as a
Yeah,
whole.
for sure.
And with this in mind, I think Super Akuma does well versus Jack, especially after that heavy loss to Narama last time when he got
Yeah,
6.
for sure. I think this trip is really seems like a really good investment
Major
for Super
improvement.
Kuma. So,
Mhm.
and he did better than I thought he would do. Actually, like I think Super Kuma is a very talented player, and I definitely think the majority of the world has been sleeping on him as a player. But
That is
I
also
didn't
why
think he was gonna do as well.
I feel like Kurakura, even being a fan of his, also underestimated the way he would do at Japan. Because normally Kurakura is the one responsible for inviting all these Japanese names to his parlor. And he didn't get to invite, all the top dogs, minus Kagemaru and Naroma. Actually, Nishi came along, and that set I would love to watch. Akuma versus Top Japan's Fang. Would love to see that happen again on the VOD. Probably is an interesting watch. But still, you would see names like Sir, you would see names like Nello, who is like top 3 maybe Akuma in Japan, not even the best one, and other people who are not internationally known. If Kurakuro had more faith in Super Akuma, he would probably have invited more known players or perhaps asked them out. But after such a dominant performance, Super Akuma is definitely on the map, even in the minds of the Japanese players. I feel like they
Yeah.
were the only ones who didn't give him enough respect.
It's worth noting that Shikirin Cup was happening the same weekend as well. So There was a tournament,
Oh
so
my! I had no idea. Okay.
so
Yes, sorry, Rubbish, and also be a rapper. I had no idea there was an event colliding with Kurokuros. It's just that last time, Nia and Arslan got involved and invited. Boom, everyone's there. Or
yeah.
perhaps it's like Nobi. Nobi is the crown of the Tekken community. Well, he used to be at least, and if he likes Tekken the way it is, 3D only, perhaps everyone just follows in his footsteps. And everyone except Chikrin is getting slapped on the back for even picking of geese, and I guess Chikrin is the only
Yeah.
one who gets away with it.
I think Bopper's point here is, I was gonna say something similar. Like, it's as good as Super Kuma is, even if you know that he's that good, I don't think you can compare it. Maybe you can compare it to playing versus Arslan before you know how good he is. Like, if you only knew that he beat Knee a couple of times, like, sure, he probably drew a bigger crowd because of the spectacle, but like Knee will automatically. I don't think it really matters if Knee has been winning a bunch of tournaments. If Knee shows up, everyone will come to play. It's fucking Knee, right? Like, it's like if Daigo shows up. If Daigo goes, oh, I'm gonna go to the UK for a weekend to just play people, everyone's gonna show up. But if some random Japanese guy who beats the shit out of Daigo on net play all the time shows up, like, I don't know, maybe he's better, but that doesn't matter.
Okay, that's perfectly fair. I guess I was a bit too overcritical of Kurokuro.
Either way, the event turned out sick.
Absolutely.
It was
I'm looking
great
forward
matches.
to VODs getting uploaded.
And I won't have to sit through the fucking cancerous chat. That was like 88% of it was just talking about that friend of Super Kuma from France, I think she was from, in the background. Like, Twitch. Twitch is Twitch. But you won't have that shit on YouTube, so that's good.
So, is that his girlfriend? I don't want to get private or anything.
No,
or
I
just
think she's an
traveler
acquaintance.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Just a friend.
Perhaps the manager for the team. Well,
No, I think she just knows him and knows Japanese or some shit like that. I don't know.
Mhm.
I don't know. She was there, probably just hanging out. I don't know. But yeah, don't let that detract if you haven't seen the stuff. If you should watch this, if like in the chat, the matches were great. They're gonna show up on Kurokuro like in a while. It takes a while to upload because he you can sub to get odds. So obviously he wants to incentivize people to do that. So I understand why he does it. Kind of sucks, but I understand it. Gotta respect the hustle, so to speak. But they'll be up on YouTube in like a week or two, I think, something
2
like
weeks
that. They
should be
usually
enough.
show up.
Yeah. Well, if you are a big fan of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, you will probably get a big hit out of watching any of Super Akuma's matches versus Jack, be it Kagemaru or Naromo, because Kurokuro on commentary, whenever either one of these characters does rage art, he just goes into full JoJo mode with ora, 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 ora. And then one time even he switched his ora to are, basically ora, 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 are, are, are. And then arrivederci. That was such a sick transition. Holy shit. Who would have thought? Like, aren't you impressed?
I don't know.
Come on. Isn't that goodbye in
Yeah, but that's a yo-yo
Outside.
thing as well.
Oh my god, that sucks.
And I mean, Super Kuma isn't Italian, so
What? Italian? Don't you mean French?
no, he's not Italian. So, like, why would that?
Well, that's a bit of an issue. I got hype for nothing.
That's just Kurokuro being, well, he's just being a yo-yo guy, right? But if he wasn't, that would be Kurokuro being racial, right? What if what if we
Not a
started
good one.
every single time a Japanese player beats someone, we go like ni hao, ni hao. Ni hao.
Yeah, that would not be good.
Probably wouldn't go over well. I think I might get a TOS violation on Twitch just because I said that. Can't
Don't
say ni
tell
hao in a
anyone that-
condescending manner.
Kurokoto's nickname means black. Perhaps I have something to do with it. That's why
Yeah.
he never invites any black Tekken players to play.
Because he's already double black?
Yes, there is an overabundance of the color, So clearly someone's being racial. Okay, that's enough.
Yeah, let's leave that, I think. I don't know. Do you have anything you wanna plug? Anyone you wanna shout out before we shut this bitch down?
Absolutely a huge shout out to Super Akuma, who's been doing extremely well this entire semester, this entire year, 2019. Even if he didn't play character I mained, even if he didn't play character I enjoyed, that's still an amazing performance by someone from Europe, and a European player finally getting to travel to Kurokuro's own den to show up and show off is a great achievement. I'm glad people are doing great. The only thing I would love from the worldwide community is for people other than Arslan to travel from Pakistan across the world. I believe another player traveled recently. Wasn't this Tiger Uppercut and he got ninth? Let me look
Yeah.
this up.
Yeah,
And
he
he was
played. I
also
think he played
sponsor-
Geese as well.
And he's also sponsored by the same team that sponsors a Korean player.
Yeah. He beat Double, I think. He beat Double once and then he lost to Double in losers. But I mean, they're all killers. Like they got so many players. And what's the population of Pakistan?
It's big. It's all right.
They got people. And if Tekken is the most popular game, they got fucking lots of killers.
Yeah.
They got people to spare. So they should
200 million.
Damn, 200 million? That's a fuck ton. Dude, that's so much people. It's way more than Sweden. More than Sweden.
I believe that's Sweden plus Russia plus Norway, perhaps.
I don't know. Sweden's like 10 million though, so like I don't think I'm making up a majority.
The entirety of Scandinavia plus like the Estonian trio of wait, what is it
plus,
called?
plus,
The Baltic,
plus,
the
plus.
Baltic trio, Baltic, yeah, plus. That's a lot of people. Yes, you're right.
Yeah. I don't think I have that much to plug, I guess. I'm gonna do, I think tomorrow I'm gonna stream, I'm gonna try to do like some beginner match analysis stuff. So I've got some videos to watch from Tekken Saibatsu. So if
I actually
you're like
do have something to plug. It's not my content though. It's content of a different person who I have not heard of too much before, but has been doing a lot of service to Tekken community in general and the lay community in specific. His nickname is on YouTube is All Times ZZZ, and he
you
is
can
close
link
to
it in
1,000
the chat.
subs. I will link that. He just makes interesting, very very specific tutorials that I would love to make myself, and I had plans doing this. Like for example, the metagame revolving around lays down 4, or perhaps all the mix-ups and all the options you can use out of Panther, or how to create a setup out of backturn Drunken on Wake Up, etc. It's these informative videos that he just pops out often, and also some crazy combos videos and just ranked play mixed in that make his content and his channel quite an interesting one, not only to watch as a lay player but also to spectate as a fan of Tekken, just to see the development of the community, finally the growth coming from below and from the people who started with Tekken 7. Shoutouts to All Times ZZZ. Where did I link it? I linked it in Twitch chat. Yep.
You did. Yeah. So I don't think there's anything else. You should all of you should sub and follow. Sub to me on YouTube. Follow this shit. I need the number to go up. I really need that.
Oh yeah,
It's
he'll
like,
sub to me. I'm being honest here. If you will sub to me, I'm gonna release my videos versus Nobi, John Ding, and my free play versus double because I've been quite lazy and didn't have any time to edit them. But I am gonna get one as soon as you subscribe.
you can't sub to Toko before you sub to me, though. That's the rules.
That's imperative, of course.
But yeah, with that, I think we're done for this one. Next week, hopefully, we'll be back and we might have a guest on. If not, it'll just be us rambling again. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, everyone.